Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Christian Babcock, Mike Lefkow, and Nathan Canilao. I think this is our final show, unless we decide to do one next week, which I highly doubt, since we'll be done and there will be no more picks. So you made it to the finish line. Bravo to all of you guys. Christian with a going back to back, like some baseball team down south. Gonna win it all.
Yeah, we're the Warriors of 17, 18. There have been a lot of good back-to-back champions. The A's, did they win 3? I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
Nathan didn't purchase his back-to-back.
Yeah. So Christian has a 6-game lead over yours truly, who needs a miracle, which is probably not going to happen. I could go against every pick that Christian makes to give myself a puncher's chance, but we'll see what his picks look like. Before we get to the picks, we're only picking 6 games. We have 6 games going to Southern California for state championship games this weekend. It was quite a weekend last week. We lost some of our heavyweights. We'll start it off. Nathan, when you saw that Reardon scored halftime, or maybe even late second half or second quarter at 38-20, I felt like I was feeling pretty good, because I said Reardon would win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, so I was at the Reardon Crusader Classic, and I was hearing it this is the day before, so this is Thursday, and I was hearing how many Reardon people disagreed with my pick. So I was sweating, ready for the onslaught of Twitter mentions that were going to come my way. So I was sweating it out, and then I get done with the Sarah game, and I look down at my phone, and somehow Folsom won with the backup quarterback, and I was like, "What just happened?" It was insane. I mean, what a win by Folsom. I mean, to do that with Ryder Lyons out, really impressive, and that cold, and to come back. I mean, Reardon's offense was rolling. I think I didn't watch the stream, but I mean, I would assume it felt like one more Reardon score in the second half, and it feels done. And right. I feel like a lot of people might have expected, they scored 38 in the first half. Here comes one more, and that's the body blow that knocks down the prize fighter. But hats off to Folsom for pulling out one of the craziest comebacks ever. One of
their great wins in their storied history. I mean, they're a 5-time state champion, so they've got quite a history over there. But that was one, and that place was packed. Tip of the cap to Reardon for bringing a massive crowd. It looked like the visiting bleachers were full, which we don't always see there. I've been there for De La Salle games or Sarah games, and the stands have not been full on the visitor side. So it was pretty impressive to see. So great season by Reardon. Came up a little short, but Folsom is no joke. I did think that the Reardon was going to pull it out by a couple of scores as I last week, but it wasn't to be. So Christian Babcock, you saw a couple of games last week. Let's go. Let's start with Lincoln-San Jose, which I've known Kevin Collins for a long time, since the 1990s. He always had to play in that big bone game, so he wasn't able to take his teams to the playoffs. They were, when he started, they were like a C-level team, and he's had them consistently at the top level of the BVAL for years and years. How special was it for Kevin to win a NorCal championship on that was Friday night, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was very cool. And I think the coolest thing was, not only seeing his reaction. First of all, if you haven't read the recap, I encourage you, because it was a crazy, borderline miraculous game, especially the way Lincoln came back and won in the fourth quarter. But yeah, you could just, sense there was something special happening. And he had so many alumni there, former players, other South Bay coaches. There will be a story coming out later this week about just, how much the coaching community has supported Kevin and, really want him to get this NorCal title and, now a state title. But it was a fantastic atmosphere. Crowd was really jumping in the Lincoln home bleachers. And it was fantastic. Probably, taking into account the atmosphere, I'd have to put it up with the first Reardon Sarah game, those are probably I'd say those are the two best games that I've covered so far this year.
It was great to see Lincoln pull it out. Mike Lefkow, I know you have thoughts about Lincoln, and you were pounding that drum to get rid of that Thanksgiving game for years and years when we first started this thing. How cool is it to see not only that game now being played early in the season, but for San Jose and Lincoln to make the playoffs this year, and for Lincoln to still be playing going into week 16?
Well, I'm very happy for Kevin Collins. I haven't known him as long as you have, but I've talked to him many times and used to talk to him about that Turkey Bowl. And,
Big bone game.
Yeah, the Big Bowl, whatever they called it. But, I used to tell him I thought it was a joke to play that game. And, that their kids deserve to go to the playoffs too. And it was, I'll be the first to admit I absolutely hated that game. And I'm very happy that Kevin Collins and Lincoln are going to a state championship. I'm happy for San Jose too, because San Jose got in the playoffs this year. And it finally is saying that there was no point in playing that game. Let these kids have a chance at the Central Coast playoffs. And they're both showing pretty well. And, like I say, Kevin Collins is a class guy, good coach. And frankly, I hope they have good success this weekend.
Selfishly, Lefty, I like that Big Bone game because I used to work that game every Thanksgiving morning, get holiday pay,
sure,
and then be home for dinner by 3:00.
The thing I hated about that game was that these kids, there were times when they deserved to go to the CCS playoffs and they couldn't go because, we got a game on Thanksgiving. Yeah. And I just hated that. I'm sorry. That was just one of the things that really annoyed me.
Yeah. Before we get to the picks, we'll go back to Nathan. You saw Sarah lose a heartbreaker, emotional scene after the game with Coach Walsh and his son Charlie, which you wrote about in the Monday Morning Lights column. Kind of recap that little that scene after the game and Sarah's near miss. They were in position and St. Mary's took it from them right at the end.
Yeah, Sarah was right there. They score. They had a miraculous, St. Mary's scores, they go up 6, they block an extra point, and then they come back down and they score within like minutes. I want to say like less than 2 minutes. It was crazy. Charlie Walsh catches, I think, like a 62-yard, catch and run to get them right by the goal line. They score quickly, and if those who don't know St. Mary's, they won their the three previous games before Sarah. They won them on last-minute drives, and there was 2:45 left. And you could there's a lot of media from the Stockton to Sacramento, and it was my first time watching a St. Mary's game, and you could kind of see, and everybody was kind of whispering, "Oh, Sarah left them a little bit too much time here," and in fact they did. And St. Mary's goes down. They score, I think, in 4 plays. Sarah gets the ball back with 30 seconds left. Still had a chance. There was a unnecessary roughness penalty that pushed them into the red zone, I think, at the 25-yard line. And they had one last chance, but St. Mary just came up big. So it was a heartbreaker. And Charlie Walsh, son of Sarah coach Patrick Walsh, was pretty emotional after the game. And they shared a pretty cool moment. You want to go read about it in Monday Morning Lights. But it was heartbreaker for sure. But Charlie and Patrick will be back next year with a pretty, if they keep everybody on that roster, it's going to be a very good team. Probably one of the WCAL favorites next year. So bright future for Sarah, but a heartbreaking loss at St. Mary's.
Definitely. And lastly, before we get to the picks, the next night you saw Pittsburgh, a team that we all picked. Except Lefty, did you pick Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think I did pick Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little nervous about that, given that Central East has scored 70 against a pretty good Clovis team that beat Los Gatos. Nathan, that Central East team was pretty good.
No joke. I knew from the first time they touched the ball, I was like, oh, this might be a long night for Pittsburgh. It wasn't. They had wide open. Their everything they did was wide open. If they had a deep bomb going down the field, no one was near them. It was a coaching masterclass by Central East. But I will give Pittsburgh credit for this season. They were a young team. I think there's a lot of questions whether or not graduating Marley Alcantara and Juju Walls and all these star players that went on to go to college. I think there's some questions around whether Pittsburgh would still be here, and they were. So, kudos off to Pittsburgh for, that season. But man, I think Central East is they're on track for state title. They're good. They're very good.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that was a merged program. A couple of schools, I think, merged because it used to be Central, right? Now they're the Central East Bengals. Is that what they're called?
Central East Bengals.
They have the Cincinnati Bengals style helmets. They lost a heartbreaker, I think, last year at state. Central did. So.
Yeah, they did. I believe they lost to Edison out in Long Beach, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that team is good, and they'll be. I mean, if they're gonna be a force, I mean, this could be a Pittsburgh Folsom. This could be their Folsom, as we know from the last couple of years. We could see this matchup many more times in the future.
All right, ready to get some picks, Mr. Santa Claus over there, Christian Babcock, who is gonna raise his arms in triumph once again.
I'm guaranteed at least a tie, right? So
yeah. Maybe we won't play tennis to decide the tiebreaker. So no pun intended. So
that's okay. I haven't played tennis in I don't even know how many years. So
all right. Cool. Let's rock and roll. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up, starting with the 6AA game. This is going to be Friday at Fullerton Union High School District Stadium, 4:00. Where, as we discussed, Kevin Collins taking the Lincoln Lions at 11-3. They're going to be facing Valley Center at 8-6. The computer HS ratings, they liked a lot of our teams. They liked a lot of the teams from the north this week, and including Lincoln. They got Lincoln winning 38-28. Mike Lefkow, is that right? Is Lincoln going to win this game?
Well, looking at Valley Center, I would go with Lincoln. Yeah, I mean, Valley basically was 4-6 during the regular season. They didn't beat a lot of great teams, and I think Lincoln. I think Lincoln wins that game.
Nathan?
Yeah, I think Kai Phillips might rush for like 500 yards this game. I got Lincoln.
Christian?
Yeah, I don't know about 500 yards. I also don't. I think Lincoln's certainly capable of scoring 38. But they generally like to hold the ball, so I'm not sure I'm seeing 38-28. But yeah, I looked up Valley Center. I think it's south of Temecula. Darren, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But
your guess is as good as mine. Yeah. Your guess is as good as mine on Valley Center.
Yeah, I like to try to do enough research that I sort of know where these teams are. But it looks like a small town, and I mean Lincoln. It just seems like everything's lining up. I mean, I mentioned it, but last week, the way that game ended, it was pretty much magical. I mean, to get a quick touchdown and then a fumble on the next kickoff and then a touchdown right after on the next play. I mean, that's just that's some Disney movie stuff right there. So I think they're going to finish it off this week.
There you go. And I'm going to give you the outright title because there's no way I'm going against Kevin Collins and Lincoln, to get to the final. To get to the final, they're not going to come home empty-handed. I think they get it done. We move on to 5AA Friday at Buena Park High School. This is a 4:00 kick. Nathan will be there to see a team that I've written about the last 2 weeks. I was not at the game at Chico, but I watched it on the stream, and I saw them beat Fortuna. I remember this time. They beat Fortuna in the North Coast Section Division 6 final 2 weeks ago. So O'Dowd is at 10-4. They've won 9 out of 10. The only loss was the game that Christian was at against James Logan. So Bishop O'Dowd at 10-4 going to be facing not Christian Babcock, but Christian of El Cajon. So we will go to Christian Babcock. Are you going to go up against your? Are you going to go against your namesake, or are you going to go for Christian?
Yes, I am. I'll give a shout out to Mike Machado, who admonished me for picking against my name last year for the Rearden Valley Christian game. Happy retirement, Mike. Darren did a great story on him stepping down at Valley this year. But it is a little weird to just have a school called Christian. I mean, I support this as someone named Christian. But I think O'Dowd's got this one. You're
going to take the Catholic school in Oakland.
I would imagine is Christian El Cajon, are they a Catholic school?
No,
they're a series from what I looked up there. It looks like there is a series of schools down there. Christian this and Christian that. So it sounds like they're a series of Christian schools.
Sounds pretty
So what are
good.
you trying to say about that area, Mike Lefkow?
What's that?
Trying to say about that area?
No. I mean, it looks like it's not just one school off by itself. It looks like there might be other schools associated with it.
All right. So who are you taking, Lefty?
Oh, I'm going to take O'Dowd. I mean, Christian was 3-7 during the regular season. I mean, they're not. They're hot now, and maybe it'll continue in the on over the weekend. But I would have to say O'Dowd is the better team.
Nathan?
Yeah, Coach Hardy Nickerson in the coach's call on Sunday said they're channeling their Mamba mentality this whole season.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna take. I'm a big fan of Kobe Bryant. That's my favorite basketball player ever. So I'm taking the team that's adopting his mentality. So give me O'Dowd.
I'm going to go O'Dowd too. Hardy's got those boys playing really, really well. I really like Lamar Ellis. I mean, that guy is a great running back. That kid has moves that just, as Hardy told me on Saturday morning, and I had written it and I had to change it because I didn't want to use the same words that Hardy used, but he called them just jaw dropping watching this kid run. So Lamar Ellis and O'Dowd, we're going to go clean sweep because the computer has O'Dowd winning, but narrowly, 27-26. HS Ratings is not picking O'Dowd to win big. Next game is 4A. This game is going to be Saturday at 7 o'clock, where El Cerrito, team that Christian covered on Saturday, edged Menlo Atherton. So El Cerrito at 12-2, huge bounce back year after forfeiting a number of games for, it's ineligible players and no playoffs last year. Well, they've bounced back in a mighty way this year, which has been very impressive to see. They're going to be facing Beckman-Irvine, and both teams coming in with 12 wins on the season. HS Rating says El Cerrito is going to win 27-26. Nathan, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think El Cerrito was, what a story. We've been talking about it the last 4 weeks, but what a story for El Cerrito. Coach Tim Johnson mentioned in the coach's call that he had kids in the spring. He had more coaches than kids come out to football in the spring. And here they are in a state title game.
First one.
First one. I mean, and you guys have covered, Darren, you've seen, some of these great El Cerrito teams fall in the NorCals and in this NCS title game. So I'm taking El Cerrito. I think they complete this magical story and take home a state title.
Mike Lefkow, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think that El Cerrito is playing real well. You said Beckman is playing very well too. They've won 11 in a row. So they started 1-3 and have won their last 11 games. So Beckman's coming in on a roll too. So these are going to be two hot teams. But I'm going to go with El Cerrito. I think things are breaking their way. They're a good defensive team too.
Christian, you agree?
Yeah, I do. Seeing them last week, they're a little inconsistent. They have a lot of young talent. I believe their quarterback is a sophomore, and Cannon Jenkins, who's a fantastic two-way player for them at wide receiver and DB. I talked to him last week. He had the game-winning touchdown and a big interception in the fourth quarter. They got some young kids that can really play. Standing next to Cannon, he's a little on the smaller side, but he's already impacting the game in a huge way. And, I think they're only going to keep getting better. And I think that includes this week. I think they're going to win a state title.
All right. We're all showing our northern loyalties because I'm going to go El Cerrito as well. Clean sweep for the Gauchos, but I think it's going to be very close because I think this Beckman team, as Lefty said, is very good. How many in a row, Lefty?
11 in a row. They started 1-3 and
okay.
won their last 11.
So like O'Dowd, which also started 1-3 and now is 10-4. Yeah, it's nice to see teams get hot. This next one, Division 3A, this is going to be Saturday in Fullerton at Fullerton High School District Stadium. 7 o'clock kick. McClymonds, they've got that us against the world mentality, right, Nathan?
We go to war with anybody.
We go to war with anybody. That's what our guy Devin Bradshaw wrote about last week when Mac beat Roseville to win the NorCal 3A championship. Well, the Warriors are now 11-2. They're going to be facing Robert F. Kennedy of Delano. Delano near Bakersfield. They are 12-3. The computer does not like Mac in this game. The computer is taking RFK 38-28. Nathan, I know you want to write about a team celebrating and winning. Is Mac going to defy the computer projection and pull it out?
So before this computer projection came out, I was like, Mac's gonna roll through. I mean, come on, Delano versus Oakland. But then I did some deep diving. They beat the the city section open champions.
Melanie, yes.
Yeah,
Carson.
they're good. They have a running back who's like 205 pounds and 6'3". They run the wing tee, and we know how if you can run the wing tee successfully, that's hard to stop. But I think Mac pulls it. I think there's just something with Mac. The bigger the game, we've seen it all this season. The bigger the test, the bigger the game. Burrell Staples, all those guys, Duncan, Prince, they all come out and they just win. So I'm gonna say Mac. I think it's gonna be super close. I say Mac in a low-scoring 21-17 win, and I think they score on a last drive touchdown. That's my prediction.
Wow. I mean, the reason we have Mac still, like, I think it's 7th in our rankings, is they have a win over St. Francis. They have a win over a WCal team. Lefty, is Mac going to win this one, or are you taking Kennedy of Delano?
No, I'm going to take Mac. I mean, I think they're probably a little bit better team. As long as all the players get their vaccinations, I'm sure they'll be ready to go.
Oh, man. Okay. Christian, how do you top that?
I can't. I will say I assume this school is named after Robert F. Kennedy Sr., not
It
Senior.
is, yes.
It's not after Junior.
Yeah, but that definitely popped into my head too. Yeah, so let's stay vaccinated out there, boys. But did a Kennedy live in
Robert F.
this?
Kennedy was a big deal in the Central Valley in 1968.
Okay,
Yes.
I guess. I mean, they named the town after. Let's see, would that be his dad? I guess. So I mean, I don't have my Kennedy straight right now. It's too early for that. But the fact that the town is named Delano is fascinating to me. But
They call it Delano.
Oh, of course.
That's what they called it on the news all the time when
Okay.
there were news stories coming out on the Bakersfield News Channel.
Okay, well, why pronounce things correctly when you don't have to? But it's a good team. I mean, I think Mac. It's interesting. We weren't able to talk to Michael Peters this weekend on the conference call, but I'm very curious what he thinks about being in 3A. It seemed like they had a pretty good matchup in NorCal, something that was in line with their depth or lack thereof, like we've talked about. But I think this is a step up. I mean, this is going to be tough for them. And I think Kennedy's going to win it.
He was always a little nervous about getting up to 3A and 2A from what I recall when I talked to him, but maybe that's changed over the years.
I agree with Christian. I think this Kennedy-Delano team, they play really good football down there in the central section. And this Delano team with 12 wins, beating the LA Open Division champion. I'm going to go Kennedy. Sorry, Nathan. I think you're going to be writing about more tears.
Hopefully not. We'll see.
Nathan's got his Max sweatshirt on. So
yeah, I got the orange on.
All right. We have 2 more games to pick before we wrap up the 2025 edition or version of the Pick Show. We've got St. Ignatius playing for the 3AA championship on Friday at Fullerton Union High School District Stadium, where Christian will be to see them play Ventura at 13-2. Ventura had a nice win last week over a red-hot Arroyo Grande team, which won the Central Section Division II championship with a win, I believe, over Bakersfield in the final. So this Ventura team is no joke at 13-2. Christian, I'm going to start with you. The Wildcats going to get it done.
I think so. This is kind of another interesting case. Last year they were in the Open and they played what was then known as Central in Fresno, and it was a tough matchup for them. I mean, they're kind of overachievers all last year, and this year they're kind of overachievers in a different way. They didn't have the regular season they wanted, but that put them in D2, and now they're lined up, I think, to get a state title. I think they're at a level that sort of fits this year's team, and they got a lot of momentum right now, and I think they're going to keep it going this week.
Nathan?
I got Ventura. I think that those teams down there in that little area of Southern California, from what I'm told, are very good. They're very good teams, and I think I know SI has been very good this year, and they've gotten hot, but I think they're going to run into a real good team here in Ventura.
There's a good junior college down there, right?
There is indeed.
Yeah.
I just did the little capsule for that game, and their quarterback is no joke. He's got like 36 touchdown passes and thrown for well over 3,000 yards.
I bet he's no Mike Mitchell. I don't know. We'll see.
He probably isn't. Who is, right?
That's true.
Except the backup at Folsom.
Yeah, that kid's gonna be good.
That kid was really good.
Yeah.
All right. Lefty, who's going to win this one?
Well, many moons ago, I worked at the Ventura Star Free Press, and I can tell you, those teams are pretty good. Now, some of the victories Ventura had were not all that impressive, but they beat a bunch of good teams. And I think Ventura is a very good team. If you come out of there and into this game, I'm going to go with Ventura over St. Ignatius. I think St. Ignatius has improved, but you look at their 4-6 regular season, that 3 of their 4 playoff games were at home. And then the one game that wasn't was the one against Sacred Heart Cathedral. And so I think Ventura is going to be a little better team, and they're going to win that game.
I had SI winning until I started doing the capsule and seeing the Ventura stats and everything. I'm going to go Ventura in this game. I think they're really, really good. And, SI's had a really nice run, got hot at the right time, but I think Ventura is going to be a little better. Although the computer has SI winning 28-24. So what do we know? Right? We have one game left to pick, the last pick of the 2025 pick show. I didn't even know this team was still playing. They played like one game and 2 games in the last month and a half. De La Salle. De La Salle's played because of the way it all shakes out. They played 2 games in the sectionals, no regional. So they've had 2 bye weeks going into this game, and they had a bye week. How does it work, Nathan? They haven't played much.
Yeah, since they were the way that the section championships go, obviously it's just one round, it's just 2 rounds for De La Salle because they were put in essentially the open, and they won their first game, won their second, so they don't have to play the next round. There's usually 3 rounds of NCS, but they don't have to play that. So they get that, and then they don't have to play the NorCal Regional. So they get another bye week, and then going into state, the open team gets another bye week. So they haven't played in 21 days. That's the big point here.
Right. And this was after 4 running clock wins to end the regular season against EBAL /DAL teams, given that Clayton Valley is no longer in the EBAL. So how is De La Salle going to be ready to play Santa Margarita, which 10-3, new team from the South. It's not St. John Bosco or Mater Dei. They do have 3 losses, but those were earlier in the season. This team has gotten as hot as anybody. How's De La Salle going to get ready how's De La Salle going to be ready for this game, Nathan?
Well, what I do know is that they're not going to do what they did last year, according to Coach Justin Allenbaugh. He's scratching that. He didn't want to go too deep into what they did last year, but whatever they did, it didn't happen this year. So I think from what I'm told is they're just trying to, keep the energy going, keep practicing hard, practice as hard as they can going into a game like this, because 3 weeks off. I mean, Coach Justin Allenbaugh kind of he compared it to playing the first game of the season again, because it's such a long break, and you're anticipating just that first. It's kind of like anticipating that first game again. You're just trying to get everybody back on the same page and get them ready for another opponent. So we'll see what happens.
And remember, we all thought they were going to get smoked everybody thought they were going to get smoked last year, and they were smoked in the first half. And Justin Allenbaugh and his coaching staff lit a fire at halftime, and they came out smoking and put a little bit of a scare into Mater Dei before Mater Dei pulled away in the 4th quarter to win the Open Division Championship last year. Santa Margarita is, we'll start with Christian, because he's got, we know about Carson Palmer, the head coach. Christian's got a story coming out on Lenny Vandermeer, the assistant coach there, who was the head coach at St. Ignatius last year. So how does Lenny feel about this game? And we're going to go with your pick first, Christian.
Okay, so yeah, I talked to Lenny last week. A really good guy. Missed him at SI, although I love Jawan too. It's been good to get to know him. But yeah, I mean, Lenny, was very respectful. He talked about when he played De La Salle in high school when he was at Mater Dei and how tough of a game that was at the Anaheim baseball stadium actually. So that was fascinating to me. Said they had about 30,000 people there, which I think definitely beats an average Angels home game. So
it's in the De La Salle book. I got to go pull that. It's in Neil Hayes' book.
For sure. No, but I mean, he was very respectful. I think he feels confident and, he has a lot of reason to. The way Trent Mosley played, I always say in high school football, the key in the biggest games is just get your best player the ball. And they did that so many times. I think I read the first quarter, they gave it to him every play, which it sounds a little redundant, but you know what? If he's your best player, you got to give him the ball. So I think they figured something out on offense. I think it's going to be tough for De La Salle. I mean, I think Jaden Jefferson is going to have the night of his life, or going to have to, if they're going to win this game. I think he's going to have his hands full trying to follow around, Trent Mosley. And I would imagine they might kind of dial him back on offense a little, just to kind of try to save his legs. Although we all know, he's a fantastic sprinter, has all the endurance you could want, but he's going to have a tall task. But I think Santa Margarita pulls it out. Santa
Margarita. Nathan, who you got?
Yeah, I think this De La Salle team has been special. But I think Santa Margarita has been, they played so well this season. I know that they actually think their 3 losses, they're all to elite teams. I think that's going to help them going into a game like De La Salle and the stage that they're going to be at. I think they play defense. They've really figured out the offensive side of the ball. That's something that I thought before, if, kind of projecting this matchup maybe a month ago, I said maybe De La Salle, this is a defense. If it's Santa Margarita, it's going to be a defensive game. It's just going to be who could go in the end zone first. But they figured out their offense. Santa Margarita has figured out their offense. So I'm going to take Santa Margarita. I think De La Salle gives them very similar to last year. I think they'll give them a scare, but I ultimately think Santa Margarita is going to win this game.
Lefty?
Well, I think the first quarter will kind of tell the story of the game. If De La Salle doesn't have too many jitters and comes out and plays well, I think this could be an interesting game. And, on paper, I guess I would favor Santa Margarita, but I'm gonna be the homer in this one and go with De La Salle. I think it'd be nice to see NorCal get the victory in this one, so I'll go with the Spartans.
Yeah, I'll add on to that really quickly. I think this is their best chance in years to win a state title. So, and I think the window's more open this year than it's going to be next year probably. So, this is kind of the time for them to get one if they're going to get one soon.
I felt very good about De La Salle going into Pittsburgh. They had a much tougher time with Pittsburgh than I had anticipated. Thought it might be Centennial Corona, which would be a nice, full circle moment, given that De La Salle's last state championship was 10 years ago against Centennial Corona. And then Santa Margarita beats Centennial 42-7. And as Christian pointed out, Trent Mosley had an unbelievable game in the Rose Bowl. Carson Palmer seems to have transitioned into high school coaching like few have. To go into that program and to get them to the Open Division Southern Section Championship, or it's Division I down there, but to win that section with all those heavyweights was a pretty amazing feat. I know Justin Allenbaugh will have his team ready. I don't think they'll have the first quarter jitters like they did last year. I don't think the eyes will be wide open. I think they've been on that field. They know what that game's all about. But at some point, when a roster is filled with big time talent like Santa Margarita, I just don't see De La Salle winning this game. I think Santa Margarita wins probably by 10, maybe. I think De La Salle will give them, as Lefty says, a scare. Or who's Nathan? Did you say they would give him a scare?
Yeah.
But I think, the Santa Margarita team is pretty good, but not pretty good, very good. So, you guys have any other thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I will say, just on the point of Carson Palmer, I knew obviously everybody knows really, if you follow football, you know Carson Palmer, but just to kind of put into perspective the job he's done, I was listening to a big time podcast, Colin Cowherd and John Middlecoff, who used to be here in the Bay Area. They were on the Volume on Sunday night, and they were talking about if Lincoln Riley steps down, can Carson Palmer step into that role? So like that just puts into perspective how good of a job he's done here at Santa Margarita. So it's no joke. Like Carson Palmer's no joke.
Where would Lincoln Riley be going in that scenario?
I'm assuming they're saying he's fired, or he's.
That's not happening. His buyout's like $70 million.
Buyout is huge for Lincoln Riley. I don't think they can.
Buyouts mean nothing now. These
No,
schools.
not a USC. I mean, maybe a Texas A&M or my parents' alma mater, Wisconsin. They walked away from firing a very underperforming coach because the buyout was too high. So.
Maybe USC, if they want to fire him, they can borrow some money from the Dodgers to help with the buyout.
There you go.
They spent it on Edwin Diaz.
They got more. They got that private equity money.
Carson's done an unbelievable job at Santa Margarita, and I think doesn't he have a son getting ready to come through there?
Yeah,
he is coming through there.
Yeah, or he is there. Yeah, so my guess is he wants to coach his son, and kind of like Patrick Walsh over at Sarah wanting to coach his son. So anyhow, I think the Spartans will give it a great shot. I just, I would have liked to have seen Santa Margarita. I would have liked to have seen Centennial in there. That would have been, I still think Centennial would have been favored, but anyhow. You guys have any closing thoughts, or are we all done?
I have a closing thought. I think it's just super cool that we get El Cerrito, O'Dowd, and McClymonds. I mean, just 3 East Bay kind of punch you in the mouth programs. I think that's really cool that we're going to see them all in state. And then obviously with O'Dowd and McClymonds, following the death of John Beam about a month ago, I think it's really cool to just see 2 Oakland schools, 2 schools that John was very involved in, recruiting players and just helping out in the community. I think it's really cool that they're both in the state championship games. I think it'll be really exciting to see, and we'll see if they could pull out a couple state championships here.
All right. Anybody else? Christian, anything else?
I think Nathan covered it, but I'm looking forward to going down to Southern California for the first time this week with Nathan. I think we're going to have a good time, see some really good games. So looking forward to it.
Lefty?
I don't know, is USC really serious about Carson?
No, it was a podcast for talking.
Because I hearken back to when
here, it's all talking.
I think it was Notre Dame hired Jerry Faust from a high school.
They did. They did. That well.
I could see, when Carson's done, when his kids are through the program, which I think his youngest is pretty young. But I mean, I read that Darren sent me a great feature that the LA Times did on him when he was living in Idaho. He was talking about, I don't know how USC doesn't have a top 5 recruiting class every year. So he's clearly still paying attention, and he's clearly a very good coach. So we'll see.
Yeah,
they had a top 5 recruiting class this year, USC.
Yeah. Former Mercury News colleague Sam Farmer wrote that story about 5 or 6 years ago. So
yeah, great story.
Yeah, very, very good. I think that's a wrap. I mean, some of the teams we thought would be down there, Reardon comes to mind, Sarah last week, all great seasons, but it's hard to get down there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's hard to make it to state.
Pittsburgh was the most surprising one, I thought.
What's that?
Yeah,
Pittsburgh was the most surprising loss, I thought.
I actually thought Reardon was the most surprising. I thought that they were on another level the way they were playing.
I communicated with Herc Pardee, and he was saying that Central East team is just fast. He said they had speed upon speed.
Yeah, that team,
and they were mostly senior group.
I mean, that team
big too. Yeah,
he was very impressed. Yeah,
I mean, that team easily could have been at the 1AA level, right? I mean, they were.
Yeah, if they put that team against Folsom, I think that's a game. I really do. I mean, that team. Reardon too, like that. I know it's really hard because you got to split those teams, but yeah, that Central East team. I mean, I think if they don't lose to Grant, I think the committee looks really hard at. Do we need to put Central East up there? Because they were good. They're very good.
I still don't know how they lost to Grant.
Yeah, I have no idea how that happened, and it's
Wasn't that the first game of the season for those two teams?
second
There
game.
you go, first game jitters.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been great doing the show. Hope you guys all had a good time. Christian, congratulations. I think Lefty went back to back a few times in the early years of the show. So you and Lefty have something in common. Congratulations. And check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. If coaches are still watching this, all league teams or any sleeper people who you want us to consider for all area football, email us at highschools@bayareanewsgroup.com. That is a wrap.